shuffled back inside the house. There was little light inside, and she became no more than a shadow.
I was just starting to worry about her, but I don't know what to do. Magnie's been in Lerwick, and he's not back yet.
Should we go and check, do you think? I suppose you do have a key. Lottie disappeared without speaking, and Willow followed her into a gloomy hall and the world of the 1970s. A downmarket stage set for Abigail's party. The carpet was highly patterned, with swirls of orange, and the walls were covered with painted wood-chip wallpaper. Perez waited on the pavement, knowing that an older woman wouldn't want him in the house while she was still in her nightclothes. "Have you always lived here?" Willow thought the place couldn't have been redecorated since it had been built.
It was our parents' house.
The hall led to a kitchen, also captured in time. Lino floor, Formica units and table. Orange featured here too. Lottie took a key from a hook on the wall.
I moved in to look after Mother when she was ill after my father died, and I stayed. It seemed the best thing.
A pause.
Margaret thought it was for the best.
Willow thought that probably summed up the relationship between the sisters. According to Perez, who'd seen them together, Margaret was the strong personality, the one who took all the decisions. "Would you like to come next door with me?"
"Not like this."
Lottie seemed horrified.
"What would Margaret say? You go along in, and I'll follow once I've made myself decent."
Perez knocked on Margaret's door again before using the key, but there was still no reply. Willow thought Lottie was overreacting. The whole community would be jittery after the murder of Emma Shearer. The sister had probably taken a day off work, had wandered down to the shop for milk or a paper. But it was a great opportunity to get into the house. If they found evidence that Margaret had sent the anonymous notes to the Fleming household, they could keep Magnie out of any discussion. The layout was a mirror image of Lottie's home, but it was lighter and cleaner. The kitchen was full of appliances that had probably come from the former marital home: a microwave, food processor, sleek black toaster. The living room was packed with oversized furniture, not to Willow's taste, but solid and expensive. Perez shouted up the stairs.
"Mrs. Riddle, are you there?"
No response. Willow was tempted to look through the drawers in a sideboard that fitted into an alcove, but she thought that would have to wait, just in case Margaret was lying unconscious in a room above them. Perez followed her up the stairs, so close behind her that Willow could smell the soap he'd used that morning. She pictured turning, taking him into her arms and burying her face into his hair, then imagined his reaction: horror, embarrassment. She continued walking. The first door led into Magnie's room. It was surprisingly tidy. The duvet and pillows had been straightened, and dirty washing had been placed into a wicker laundry basket. The surfaces had been recently dusted, and still smelled faintly of lavender polish. It was a strangely anonymous room. There were no books or posters. A large TV screen was fixed to the wall and faced the bed. Willow wondered if Margaret had been in here since he'd set off for work the day before, or if Magnie looked after it himself. She looked out of the window, expecting to see Margaret walking up the street with a bag of shopping, but there was no sign of her or of Lottie. The mist was definitely lifting. Now it was possible to glimpse a line of sunlight on the water. Back on the landing, Willow could see through an open door to the bathroom. Everything white, and again everything spotless. Perez was knocking on the remaining door that was firmly shut.
"Mrs. Riddle, are you there?"
He waited for a moment, then let himself in. Willow stood beside him, just inside the room. The bed was large and took up most of the space. It had a curved headboard and purple cushions were propped against it, so it looked as if it belonged in a pretentious hotel. There was no sign of Margaret Riddle, except that her image stared out of a large studio photograph of her with her son. The picture had been fixed to the wall in the same space as the television in Magnie's room. The bed was made and floral pyjamas.